Hello everyone, and hope you're having a good day. Today, I'm gonna quickly do a video about a place called, I think it's called Piura or Puna. I can't remember because I went to both places in Peru, and one of them was a quite well-to-do place that's how do I put this? Blah, 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 blah. With the floating islands. It's Piura. I just looked online, and Piura is in the northeast, the northwest. Sorry. Uh, Most of you probably won't know this, but some of you might. Some of you might be viewing this from South America, so it might be interesting for you. I don't know. But basically, there was a lot of flooding in the north of Peru. I don't mean like when you see flooding in the UK or some places, and it's a bit bad, and a few people have to leave their homes, and it's a bit awkward for a few days. No, this flooding fucked pretty much the whole of North Peru, and I mean absolutely fucked North Peru. A lot of houses were just fucking ruined. A lot of crops were ruined. There was very, very hard, I think, hailstones that fucked up a lot of crops as well. All the roads ruined. A lot of people were displaced by this, and quite a lot of people died from this. And this went on for quite a few weeks. It wasn't a mild case of flooding, it was very, very severe, and it was awful. And I was in a region known as Peru in this time, and Peru was in the north of South America. So, so at this time, I was affected by the flooding. It was extreme. It's something I've never really seen before, something like this. An emergency situation with the weather, but I think I'll be seeing this more as we progress with climate change and pollution issues, or I'll probably see it again in my lifetime. I was actually in a place called Toowoomba in Australia. I think I was, I don't know, 17 or something. I think it was like maybe 7 years ago or something like this, or maybe 8 years ago this happened, and Toowoomba got flooded. It was a flash flood and it killed a lot of people. I don't know if this was a flash flood or not. I was there while it was flooding. I didn't manage to find out much about it, mainly because I don't speak Spanish and all the publications were in Spanish. So if anyone wants to translate these and can find the translations, please feel free to do so. But basically, I managed to get out of Toowoomba about an hour or two before all those people died. I was with someone I know, and this person who I know took me because they were going to work close to there. They were in big industry basically, and their company called them a couple of hours before all the people died in Toowoomba and said, "Get out of Toowoomba. We think it's a safety risk." So I basically evaded that. But I remember in Toowoomba seeing, what I thought was grass poking out of a little bit of the water. It turns out it was actually trees poking out of the water, and I was on a bridge. Yeah, I wasn't in a field. The grass wasn't covered. I was on a bridge, and the trees were covered. It was close to overflowing over the bridge. I didn't realize this at the time. I realized this on the way back because I recognized the route. So I understood how bad it could be, but I never really experienced it. And then obviously I've just been in the jungle, and I came out of the jungle. It's very wet in the jungle. It's extremely humid. But anyway, I was in Piura, and the situation was terrible. I was in Mankara specifically, right? And I arrived in Mankara in my hostel. All the white people are oblivious to the seriousness of this. And the streets were fucked. Everything was fucked. The transport was fucked. You couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't do anything. And there were houses that had holes in them and shit. Houses that were absolutely fucked. There were people there who were calling people and hadn't slept for days. And they were trying to get transport organized. All kinds of shit, right? I was there just as a gringo to enjoy, to dance and have a party kind of thing. But after being there for about 2 or 3 days, it occurred to me. I mean, I'd just come from a voluntary project, so I had good intention to begin with. A voluntary organic farm project. So it occurred to me very quickly that my best use of time wasn't really fucking partying out there. My best use of time was to learn something about the situation and to try to do something about it. But I had more limited Spanish then. If I had the Spanish I had now, I'd probably be a lot more effective. So I went to the local police station, and I used to be an anarchist. I used to be all kinds of things. So this is quite weird for me to go to the police station for help, considering the experience reports and everything. And I said to them, look, I don't know what I can do to help, but I can surely do something, no? Now the guys in my hostel said, don't do this, they're all dodgy, this, that, and the other, but I had to find out for myself, right? I had to try to do something. I can either sit there and go, oh, you guys are right, I just sit in my hostel and let the Peruvians handle it. No, this is the wrong fucking thing to do. The people there aren't going to sit and go, oh, you're a gringo, you can't help me. It's an emergency. It's not, it's not a matter of pride. It's a thing of, oh, great, fucking help us. Yeah, if you can, help us. So I went to the police station and they just said, help us out, buy us some shit. I didn't have much money, so I only spent about $120, $140. I bought a shit ton of biscuits, a shit ton of tuna, and about 100 or 150 bottles of water. I can't remember exactly. And what they said about the police was absolute bullshit. These people weren't corrupt or anything. I know this for a fact because I went round with them for 2 days in Mankara, distributing quite a lot of this stuff to the more impoverished families. The first day we couldn't do it because we went up on the hilltop, and that was where the most fucked up houses were. I'm not sure why. I think the hilltop might have been dipped. That would make sense, but I can't remember exactly why. But the hilltop at this part was just more fucked. And we couldn't because the rain was getting extreme. The mud on the ground was already making it hard for the vehicle to move. And so we knew we'd just end up in the same shit as them, which, you can say, oh, you should have stayed and whatever. You're cowards. Well, yeah, maybe, but maybe also we'd have just lost all of our resources for fucking nothing. Sat there and had to waste more resources for some other stupid bastard to do the same thing with their pride and get stuck here as well. So it made more sense for us to leave. Came back the next day and distributed quite a lot of the supplies, but Mankara wasn't too badly affected. And when I say Mankara wasn't too badly affected, I mean Mankara was an emergency situation and there were probably about 100 families that were impoverished and really needed emergency help. But, when you can only get to 10 or 20 of them and it's rigid and hard, it makes sense for you to go to areas where there are a lot more, casualties, or it's a lot more immediate, basically. So we went to another region in Peru. Mankara, I don't think Mankara is in Peru. It's not important. It was more impoverished now, and we gave the rest of them away in one day. I stayed there in a hostel which was fucked and quite expensive, even though I was already paying for another hostel in Mankara, and I was taking the decision of staying there for longer. I didn't stay there for longer because, in reality, there was a few things. There was a safety issue involved with me being there. I'm a tourist, I'm a gringo, I don't speak Spanish. If someone wants to fuck with me, it's quite easy for them, especially in groups. And I can't really report it, and even if I report it in an emergency situation, they don't have the resources to do anything with it. So it left me vulnerable in that sense. But that wasn't really the main priority. Bad shit could happen to me any time. I don't worry that much about it. The main reason I didn't stay there is because I didn't have the Spanish to help them out. And what they needed the most was resources. I didn't have the resources to help them either. Plenty of people in Peru had the resources. There were plenty of resources, but nobody was sharing them. This was upsetting me. But it had some reason to it. You see, if you give out your resources and you go all the way to this place, you might be stuck there and you won't have anything. So I do understand to some extent. The other problem was I could help them with shoveling out water and miniature repairs. But ultimately, because I didn't understand the Spanish, I wasn't fast enough. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand these constructions. I was useless to them. I was just spending extra money of mine and wasting their time. Rather than helping them, I would have been ineffective because they're trying to waste their time explaining to me, showing me what to do. And I'm far more ineffective because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'll stop, I'll start. I knew this. I recognized that this is what would have happened. And they're going to waste their time fucking explaining this to me. It made more sense for me to leave. It hurt a lot because, I'm watching people who don't have shit. I'm watching people whose houses are fucked. Some of these people have lost people either there or in other parts of Peru. The crops are fucked. Everything's fucked. Everyone's paranoid. No one's eating. No one's drink the water because you can't drink the fucking water, right? You know, you're thinking, oh, it's flooding. There's a shit ton of water. No, it's all dirty. There's carcasses in it. There's shit in it. You cannot drink this water. You will get very ill. You drink this water for 3 or 4 days out of desperation. You're gonna start fucking getting very ill. You're probably going to die a week later. So you have to purify this water. You have to put it through a fucking roof and through a filter and all this shit. So they're making these makeshift things. They're rebuilding, and at the same time, it's still raining. It was raining really heavily. It's still raining really heavily. So you got to keep fighting it. It was a very difficult situation. It was a very difficult decision to make because, I felt like I was abandoning them, when in reality, I was doing the opposite. I was helping them, but it was a complex way of helping them. I could have stayed there and counseled them or whatever. And it's easy to say that to me, but it's not helpful. It wouldn't have been helpful. It would have been the very opposite. I didn't have the money that they needed to help either, so I couldn't donate anything. I was useless there. So I made that decision to leave. It was a very painful one. And I went back and watched business as usual with the gringos, and they didn't do anything. One of them told me, this French lady told me, you should go back there and do what you can, give up all your money. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to be stranded here in a worse situation than them. For what? For death, for me. It doesn't make sense. I want to help, but I'm not self-destructive. And she's telling me, do what you can, this, that, and the other. I'm like, why are you fucking sat here working behind this bar, entertaining all these other people, if you think this way? But I didn't say anything. I'm sorry, that was egotistical to mention. But my point is, I saw this, and it affected me, and I'm starting to see that a lot of things I've been doing, a lot of these videos I see of this left stuff, this privilege shit. It's a good idea. It's a good idea to try and do these things, to try and test them out in, more liberated countries with good economies. Why not? We've never done it before. Let's get some new data. But I think things like this are more important, to be honest, because, these people were actually, in a very, very dangerous situation. I remember being in Mankara, and I was ill all day, every day in Mankara, because it was so dirty. There was so much water, there were so many flies. All the food was fucked because it was full of this fucked up water. All the water was fucked because it was just fucked in general. It was all dirty. You couldn't filter it. Your filtration systems were fucked. The hostel I was staying in, all the food was fucked. Everyone was dirty, so they're serving me all this food that's undercooked, that's dirty because it's an emergency situation. It's trying to keep a business running. It was very hard to be in. So I'm starting to see sympathy in that, and I'm deciding that, I think I'm going to spend more time on ecological projects and projects that are, volunteer projects that are more immediate disaster relief. I might help in more disaster relief now, I think. If I get the chance to help in disaster relief, I will. And it actually showed me that in emergency situations, the police are a lot more understanding. I don't think they would have let me help them out normal day to day, but this wasn't normal day to day. They recognized I had potential to help and I had a will to, and they took me on that. And that, I'm glad that they did. I'm glad that they didn't say, no, who the fuck are you? Straight away they were like, yep, okay, give us the resources, let's fucking go. Get in the back. And I'm glad that they took me in the back, because I got to see firsthand that they were willing to help. They were going out there and people were giving them shit and telling them it wasn't enough. They were sitting there getting the abuse, giving out their stuff and fucking off. It takes a lot of guts to do that. It takes a lot of guts to go out to these places. It's dangerous. It was dangerous for me. I didn't leave because of that. I left because I was useless. And it was upsetting. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you want to help the world, try and do something that really affects someone's life, instead of just bitching on the internet. But still bitch on the internet. And when you do, try and do something constructive with it, hopefully. And thanks for watching. I hope you're good wherever you are. And I hope you do the best for people. I will certainly be doing this. This has given me a very good reason to, help out in the world, because I've seen it firsthand in a quite extreme way. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Good luck with what you do.